Do silencers make guns more accurate or less accurate? This is the question that we sought to answer when we entered our rifles into the PSR program. We had to submit with a silencer that was quick detachable on and off of the rifle. And at the time, we didn't make silencers. And so we solicited Surefire and AAC and 3 other suppressor companies to test their silencers to figure out what is the best silencer to meet this requirement. And as we tested these silencers, we ran into some anomalies that kind of was very disturbing. But before we get into that, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. One of them was that all of the quick detachable silencers made the gun less accurate when it was shooting suppress. Another one was we had some silencers that when we would start shooting a group, your first shot would be here, your second shot would be up here, and third shot, and it would wander. You had a wandering zero as that suppressor heated up. Another issue was the impact shift was unpredictable with some suppressors, and other suppressors, the impact shift was so great that it was pretty crazy. So we put the silencer on, and the zero unsuppressed would be in the middle. With the silencer installed, it would be like 5 inches off to the left for no rhyme or reason. And so we took a deep dive into trying to figure out what design attributes caused all of these anomalies to happen, and with the intent of resolving these issues. Initially, we didn't intend on designing our own silencer at all, but in our pursuit of achieving the accuracy and minimal impact shift that we wanted, that was the only way that we were able to obtain those results. So what caused all of these issues with these other silencers we tested? It really came down to these 3 simple things: gas dispersion, barrel harmonics, and thermal stability. Gas dispersion. It is critical to control the gases that are exiting the muzzle behind the bullet. If you don't do it properly, those gases will actually tip the bullet and it will cause it to yaw. And that instability will hurt your accuracy downrange. Another issue is gas disperse that is not uniformly dispersed through a muzzle brake or a suppressor can shift the bullet's flight path. And the reason that we were seeing a 5-inch horizontal shift with one of the silencers is because there was a feature going down the baffle stack on one side of that baffle stack all the way down, and that feature caused the bullet flight to deflect. And so gas dispersion is really critical in order to enhance accuracy and minimize impact shift when you install the silencer. Barrel harmonics. The locking mechanisms on the silencers that we tested, they retained the silencer and kept it from backing off, but it didn't keep the silencer snug down. And so you would tighten the silencer by hand and it would ratchet on, and then you'd shoot 1 or 2 rounds. And then if you grabbed the can, there was a slight amount of play left and right in between those 2 locking teeth. And that slight amount of play screwed up the barrel harmonics, and it had it had unnecessary movement within the suppressor. Even though it was a very subtle amount, it was enough that it was hurting the barrel harmonics. Now the barrel harmonics understand the way that a barrel whips. You can kind of look at it like a lasso or maybe a vertical shift. But as you fire the bullet, that barrel does a whipping motion, and the idea is to have the bullet exit the barrel at the extreme ends of that whipping motion when the barrel is at a stop. And that's why when you do a reloading, a hand loading test, the ladder test is what they call it, as you increase the charge in the powder weight, you'll be able to see those shots moving around just like that barrel's moving around. And then all of a sudden, you'll have like a 0.5 grain range where all the shots are hitting in the same spot. And it's because they're exiting the barrel at that pause point at the end of the barrel whipping cycle. Now, when you have something rattling on the end of the suppressor, it screws that up. It changes those harmonics and it makes it inconsistent. And so you're not going to get as good of accuracy if you have a silencer that has a locking mechanism that does not ensure that it is 100% snugged down all the time. The last part is thermal stability. What it means is as your barrel and your silencer heat up, you don't want the materials to fluctuate and to bend and shift. If a silencer is not properly welded, then it will actually flex. And as the silencer gets hot, you will have a wandering zero. There was a very reputable suppressor that we tested that is very, very popular in the PRS circuit. And as we tested this silencer, then it took 15 rounds before the group started to settle down, and it had about 1.5 inches of wandering from shot number 1 until it started to group tie. So that is a thermal instability of the silencer. So after we finished all these testings and identified all these issues, we tried to coordinate with each one of these suppressor companies, and not a single one of them wanted to resolve any of the issues or even admit that they had issues. You know, we provided them all of our test data, unsuppressed, suppressed, but they didn't really seem to care or want to change anything. So we were forced to create our own suppressor and muzzle device for this program. This is a suppressor that we ended up making. It's the very first prototype cans that led to the development of our DTSS suppressors that we sell now. So what did we do to maximize the accuracy and minimize the impact shift when our suppressor was installed? First, for the accuracy piece, we designed a baffle system in the suppressor and the muzzle brake that immediately strips the gases away from the bullet as the bullet exits the barrel. And that prevents any kind of deviation or yaw for the bullet. And the result of that is we have seen an improvement in accuracy with our silencers installed. So the other thing that we did to ensure that the silencer stayed tight on the gun is we designed the first initial baffles to torque the suppressor onto the brake. And so every time you shoot, it actually tightens the suppressor onto the brake more. That ensures that the suppressor isn't going to come loose and have any kind of movement like what we saw in those other suppressors. The other thing that we did to prevent any kind of thermal instability is we avoided welding. In our initial prototypes, we did test welding, and one suppressor would do great, the next suppressor wouldn't. One suppressor had impact shift, and it was pretty, it had too much volatility. So we did a monocore suppressor design that is weldless. So it assembles without having to weld, and that ensures that there's zero thermal instability. So this is perfectly stable as the suppressor heats up. In order to keep the impact shift less than 1 inch when we install the suppressor, then we made the suppressor lightweight. This is full titanium. It's 1 pound. It's a 338 Lapua silencer. We have another version that's a 308 silencer that's an inch shorter than this, but by keeping it lightweight and controlling those gases, we're able to maintain a consistent, repeatable impact shift. When you put the suppressor on, it has a vertical impact shift of about 1 minute of angle. So the result of all those design efforts are the PSR silencers that we submitted with the rifles. We made 4 of these silencers, and in the trials, our gun outshot everybody else's guns by a lot. I'll link a video about the PSR trials in the description below for those that are interested. In addition, when you put these DTSS silencers on any rifle, it improves the accuracy of that rifle. It'll take a half-minute gun down to a quarter-minute gun. When we put these DTSSs on our MDR rifle, when we were testing those for accuracy, then it improved the accuracy of the MDR from 1 3/4 MOA unsuppressed down to consistent 1 MOA groups, and it actually made the MDR the most accurate semi-auto that we were testing in our comparison tests that we performed when we developed the MDR. Now, when we did that, we wondered if it was solely due to the baffles stripping gases away, or perhaps maybe the weight of the suppressor acted as a harmonic dampener of the barrel. So what we did to test those theories was we machined a big washer that just threaded on the end of the barrel, and the diameter of that washer was pretty big, but the weight of the washer was the exact same weight as the suppressor. So we did accuracy tests with this big washer on the end of the MDR, and the accuracy was still 1.5 to 2 minutes of angle. And so we validated that it wasn't the weight of the suppressor that was causing harmonic dampening. It was actually the baffle systems inside that were helping to improve the gas flow as the bullet exits. So this suppressor does an awesome job at improving the accuracy. Our DTSS suppressor does an awesome job of improving the accuracy. I mean, I shot 300 rounds of .338 over a 1.5 day period testing all of these silencers. And so at the end of day one, I had a big goosebump on my collarbone about this big. And then when I went back for day two, it actually broke the skin and smashed it flat again. And I actually have a permanent bump in my shoulder specific from this .338 Lapua suppressor testing sessions that we did. I hope you enjoyed this story about how we developed our DTS silencer. And I hope that I gave you enough information to help you make your next suppressor purchase intelligently. Always make sure that you're looking for improving accuracy, minimizing impact shift, and minimizing thermal instabilities in any suppressor that you purchase. Thanks for watching.